Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your boy King James here, and today's November 5th, and Vanguard launches today, so I'm probably going to be playing a bunch of that, and you'll likely see some videos on Vanguard come up as we lead into the integration into Warzone on December 2nd. So for now, I've been playing with a new AR, and I've had a couple of guys comment on it. Bushhopper said, "Call me crazy, folks, but I choose the Grav over the AK in the EM2. And Psychovision says, "Hi KJ, I've been using the Grav as my main AR. Have you tried it out? It's smoother than the EM2. And you know what? Well, I went and picked the Grav up, and I think these guys may be right. And I got a little bit to show you right now." Okay, so check this out. So how we used to measure time to kill on guns was we just looked at chest shot locations, and that was the most common. And when you look at it, the EM2, well, it's pretty well the best out at long range, but some upgrades have been made to the sight. And when I go and look at a combination, and what they found when they looked at a whole bunch of kills, like thousands of kills, is that when you average them out, we're only hitting the chest 32, extremities 35% of the time, stomach 15% of the time, neck 7, and headshot 11. So when you're shooting at somebody, of course, they're moving, you're moving, and you're just shooting all over the place. So this is actually where we're hitting on average. And when you change the shot location to look at that, look what happens to the Grav. It's now the best at distance. And it's not the EM2 and the AK are bad. They're both really good. But when you get here and look at this, it's 668 versus 708 and 733. So if you got a gun that fuels about the same and has the same recoil, why wouldn't you want one that's better at range? Especially if you're carrying it with an SMG like the OTS-9 or the LAP or something that's really good. Yeah, the Grav is not the best in the first 40 meters, but let's be honest, you're probably using your SMG anyway. And beyond 40 meters, the Grav hits the hardest and kills the fastest. And there's a couple other things that make it really good. Now, if I go and look at the recoil charts, check it out. The recoil chart on the Grav, it's about the same as the AK. It's got less vertical, although it has a bit more horizontal than the EM2, which is just a straight line up. And the AK kind of goes right, then left, then right, then left, where this sort of just goes left and then right. So it has a little bit less wander when you're using it with the Grav, which I noticed versus the AK. So definitely the recoil is right in the game where the AK and the EM2 are, and it's very similar gun to those. But there's one other thing that makes it a little better as well. So if you're like me and you've been using the smaller mag on your AR recently to get the fastest ADS time, like on the EM2 you almost have to because the ADS penalty is huge. You look at the Grav, it actually has 50 rounds on the smallest mag with no ADS penalty, where the EM2 is 40 and the AK is 45. So another thing for the Grav that it gets that the other ones don't is 5 extra bullets or 10 extra bullets versus the EM2 with roughly the same time to kill and recoil pattern. So if you had more bullets, you know, a pretty good recoil pattern and a time to kill that's actually better than all the guns, only slightly better, but it is better, then isn't the Grav a pretty darn good gun to use? Well, let me show you a little gameplay. And this is what I'm talking about. Check this out. I go up here and there just happens to be a guy standing up here. I didn't even know. And I just shoot him point blank with the gun. And it's amazing how fast it can kill when you're right up close and you're just hip firing it. But when you're shooting at range, check this out. Boom, that guy didn't get away. And as he jumped, I got some of those headshots in there. And that's the thing about those combination shots. You're hitting chest, neck, body. So you really get a much more accurate time to kill when you look at it that way. And I think I could really feel it here when I was using it. And you can see right there, hit a bunch of those shots, and man, people go down with this thing really fast. Now that wasn't even at 40 meters, but you know, this certainly is. And you know, you get those shots on there, man, this thing, it really rips. It kills fast. Now I don't know if I can necessarily tell the difference between the EM2 and the AK at range, but if somebody was shooting you at the same time that you're shooting them, that time to kill makes all the difference in the world, because it's smooth shooting. See there, got right into the headshots, smooth shooting, and very easy to control, and it hits really hard. So if I'm picking out of a bunch of different guns, I'm going to grab the one that's got the fastest time to kill, so long as the recoil isn't crazy on it. The recoil in this gun is about the same. So if you're used to the EM2 or the AK, this thing is going to feel exactly the same, and you're going to get that slightly faster time to kill. So the Grav, which never really was all that great of a gun when it first came out, let's be honest, it's a lot better now because they buffed the recoil on this thing big time in the last patch. They even said that they fixed it because it was just too much. Now it's really good. And using this thing, it's really strong. Guy right over the thing here, I just jumped off and lasered him right there like that. No problem getting all those shots. Like, it really works nice. So for a really nice pairing, the Grav and the OTS is a real winner. You want to give it a shot. If you've been using the EM2 or the AK, they're both great. Try the Grav out again, because I know it wasn't that great when it first came out, but it is now, and it's worthy of a relook. So give it a shot. All right, let me show you my build. But just before I do that, I want to say thank you to everybody who's recently subbed to the channel and is here watching my videos. I really appreciate all that love and support. So thank you guys. And if you haven't subbed to the channel, well, consider subscribing, because it really does help small content creators like myself. I'm really close to 10K subs, so hitting that sub button really does help the channel. All right, let me show you my build. So the build on the Grav pretty well follows the standard AR loadout that you're used to. So agency suppressor gives you sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. And you want to couple that with the task force. It seems to be the best AR barrel right now. Bullet velocity, more horizontal and vertical recoil control, and more effective damage range. Now for an optic, I think the Axial Arms is pretty well known as being one of the better optics in the game, and I'm really loving that zombie optic here called Scalpel. I did a video on that if you haven't checked that out yet. And now for the underbarrel, again, field agent, because you want that that recoil control. And for the mag, I've really been running the normal mag so I don't have an ADS penalty. And on this gun, well, it's pretty well your only option, because I'm not using the 30-round conversion. I tried it, but I don't think the trade-off of 20 bullets is worth the little bit of range and damage you get. This thing still hits crazy hard even without it. So the 50-round, which is a pretty good size mag with no ADS penalty, really works nice on this gun. And I'm telling you guys, I think this is my new favorite AR. It's got a slightly larger mag, which, let's be honest, is always good. The ADS is comparable, the recoil is comparable, but it has a faster time to kill. So what's not to like about the Grav? They recently buffed the recoil, and while they clearly made it better, it's just as good and easy to control as the AK and the EM2. So it makes a pretty good case to give this gun a try. And I really think you should. If you like my AK and you like my EM2 videos and you use them because of some of those suggestions, try this one out. It may surprise you, because I know it wasn't really good when it came out. I didn't like it either, but I really do now. Anyways, guys, give me your thoughts on the comment section down below. I know we got a lot of ARs right now, but carrying us into the Vanguard integration, I think the Grav is the one that I'm going to use for the rest of the time. It definitely has been buffed with the recoil. You can absolutely feel the change and how much better it is. It's very much like the EM2 and the AK, and it now has a faster time to kill than all those other guns. When we look at the combination shots, which, let's be honest, that's all the spots that we really are hitting. We're never just hitting all chest shots. So when you look at it on that data point, it really makes good sense to be using whatever the fastest time to kill gun is, and right now it's the Grav. I don't know if everybody knows that. Maybe they're just looking at chest shots, or just running whatever the meta is. But if you're looking to be a little off meta, the Grav is definitely the gun for that, because it's certainly off meta. It's not like the AK and the EM2, which are right up at the top there for what guys are using. So give it a shot if you haven't pulled it out in the last little while, and try it out. It'll probably change your mind on what's really good. Anyways, guys, if you haven't subbed to the channel, make sure you're subbed. And as always, if you don't see me in Warzone, if you don't see me in multiplayer, it's only a matter of time, baby. King James out.